Hey, good evening, everyone. Welcome to Thursday Night Live. It's been a while since I've gone live on YouTube. I think my last stream was with Jeremy from Practical IT. So, welcome from wherever you're tuning in from. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are tuning in from in the world. That said, let me know if you're here in the chat and let me know where you're tuning in from. I do have subscriber only mode on, so I don't remember if I set it for a minute or 5 minutes, but whatever the case may be, if you want to join in the chat, then just subscribe to the channel, and after whatever time frame I set, 1 minute or 5 minutes, you'll be able to join in on the conversation. So tonight, I just thought I would go live. Like I said, it's been a while. I see a few of you here. We have 4 viewers and 1 like, so do me a favor and hit that like button as we get into the night. I do want to talk a little bit about something I've been noticing. I've been doing quite a few cord cutting consultations the last couple of weeks. And but before we get into that, let me just say it's been a rainy season here in North Carolina. We've had some wicked thunderstorms and some wicked lightning the last couple of weeks. And we were just having a cell pass through before, and I was wondering if I was even going to get the stream in. That's how wicked the lightning and the thunder's been. But it seems to have passed, so we're all good on that. And I hope everybody had a good 4th of July if you do celebrate the U.S. July 4th holiday. In fact, that being said, one of the staples here in the North Carolina area is hot dogs with coleslaw. And that's something I've never had before in my life. Where I'm from originally, up in the Northeast, the New York, New Jersey area, hot dogs were either with sauerkraut and mustard, just mustard, or sauerkraut and beans. Not sauerkraut and beans, mustard and beans, but never mustard and coleslaw. And tonight, my wife was out with the girls for dinner, so I threw a few dogs on the grill, and we had some leftover coleslaw from July 4th. Didn't have any sauerkraut left over, so I said, So for the first time in my life, at 61 years of age, I had a hot dog with mustard and coleslaw. And I have to say that I was pleasantly surprised. It's the big thing down here. In fact, you can't get, in the area where I'm at, you can't get a hot dog with sauerkraut. If you ask for a hot dog with sauerkraut, you're going to get a hot dog with coleslaw. So, like I said, it's not the first thing I would go out and ask for, but I will have to tell you, I was pleasantly surprised. It was favorably pretty good. So now I could say I did another first in my life. Anyway, so let me know what your thoughts are on the hot dogs. How do you like your hot dogs? With mustard and sauerkraut, plain? Some people like it with ketchup, just for a conversational piece. Let me know if you've had a hot dog with sauerkraut, or a hot dog with coleslaw. So, in any way, let me go to the chat and say hello to folks. Let me see who's here. We have 5 people here, 4 likes. So that's pretty cool. Hey, Dick Rooney, good evening. Thank you for joining. It's your first time with us. And Dick is one of my local customers in the area, so I appreciate you subscribing to the channel and joining in. Everybody, please say hello to Dick Rooney. TVJ, thank you for being here. I'm glad you were able to make it. Let me know, guys, if the audio and the video look and sound okay. David from PE Doers is here. David, thank you for joining the live stream. Like I said, it's been a while since I've gone live, and just kind of got the itch to go live tonight. By the way, I do have my adult beverage. Let me know in the chat what your adult beverage is tonight. Can you tell by the color? And I'm not drinking red Malbec tonight. Can you guess by the color what this is? Put that down in the chat as well. And Jeremy says, hey, all, fighting network issues right now, so I have to watch on my phone. Well, Jeremy, thank you for watching at all. I'm sorry you're having those network issues still. It's been a couple of weeks, it seems like, unless is this the same continuation of the issue you were having previously, or is it new? But it seems like it's been a while that you've been saying you've been fighting your network and your internet issues. And David's saying hello to Tony, Jay, and Jeremy. Annie's saying hello to Dick. Dave is here from Charlotte. Yes, some big rain and wind last week. Yeah, we're still in that pattern here. It seems to be coming from you and moving to us, Dave. But thank you for joining us, and thank you for noticing my tan in my last video. I appreciate that. And Dave says, barbecue coleslaw. Yes, the Southern way of life. By the way, folks, if you don't know, a Southern barbecue is nothing like an American barbecue. Again, from where I'm from in the Northeast, a barbecue is hot dogs and hamburgers and maybe some chicken legs or something like that. But down here, if you say you're going to a barbecue, you're getting pulled pork and a bunch of other pulled pork and sliders and stuff like that. If you want the Northern style barbecue, you got to ask for an American barbecue. So we're learning a few things living in the South. And David says, my wife just said we need sun late next month. Yep, and we go visit our son. Yeah, hopefully we'll have some nicer weather coming along, David. We're just in a wicked pattern right now. A hot dog with spicy mustard and red pepper flakes. Now that is right up my alley because I like hot spice. So that is something I definitely would try. The mustard I use on my hot dogs, believe it or not, is spicy mustard. But I've never tried the red pepper flake. I do put red pepper flake, though, on my pizza. David says mustard. David's saying hello to Vic. Did I miss somebody? Is there a Vic here? Oh, okay. TVJ says here, a local hot dog place makes anyone famous sign a hot dog bun. There you go. And David says orange juice and vodka at my end. Jay says mimosa. Let's see if anybody else is weighing in on the drink. So you're closest, David. I know that's what you're having on your end. So this is orange juice, vodka, and there is a little touch of cranberry in here as well. So I appreciate that, Jay. Thank you. I agree. Jeremy, you should do a video on your network issues once you have it fixed, or at least give us an overview. So, yeah. Hot dog with spicy mustard, red pepper flakes, and a cherry soft drink. So I'm going to continue going through the chat, but I want to put a poll in the chat real quick. And it has to do with one of the topics. And let me see, start a poll, ask a question. Let's see. How do we do this? What are my options here? Bear with me. Are you? Okay, I'll take option number 3. Very simple, yes, no poll. And here we go. Ask your community. All right, so The poll that I put out to everybody in the chat tonight is, are you a cord cutter at the present time? Simple answer, yes or no. Then we can get into a discussion if you want about if you are a cord cutter, why, when, what are you doing? You know, how are you supplementing your channels, things like that. And if you're not a cord cutter, we could ask the question why. But let's see what goes with the poll for a while. Let me continue on, and then we'll get into that topic. Let me continue on with the chat. Jeremy says his internet or network issues started before he left for the July 4th weekend. First, the ISP had an outage. Now I'm pretty sure my 6-year-old USG has crapped out. Double whammy. Yeah, 6-year-old USG is very possible. I think I heard in your midweek news. By the way, I don't know if I commented on that this week or not, Jeremy, but another excellent episode of your midweek news, guys. If you haven't checked out Jeremy Likes midweek news, it comes out every Wednesday. I think he's up to episode 32. Definitely give it a look. He keeps you up to date on various topics in the technology world, and he gives you just a little taste, wet your whistle. Outstanding. So another great episode, Jeremy. Thank you. Let's see. I think you said in your midweek news that you were going to be switching to PF Sense. Let me know how that goes. David says, in Brooklyn, where I grew up, it's all about knishes and spicy mustard. Yeah. Just a bit of bourbon for the taste. There you go. David says, sorry, my hearing. I thought you said your customer. Oh, Dick Rooney. Dick, D-I-C-K. Dick Rooney. But thank you for saying hello. Luke, good evening. Thank you for joining the stream. Appreciate you being here. By the way, Tony, David says, the hot dog has to be borderline burnt on the grill. Oh, that's the other thing. Thank you for mentioning that. Not that the live stream was supposed to be about hot dogs. It was just interesting that today, for the first time in my life, I had a hot dog with coleslaw. I had refused it. I've been down in North Carolina now, coming for 10 years, actually living here full time for 7. And I kind of just refused. You know, like when you turn up your nose at something, I've kind of just not wanted to give it a shot. But today I did, and kind of glad I did. Like I said, it was pleasantly good. So Jeremy says cord cutter since 2008. Oh, good. Wow. You're longer than me. I went in 2016. I decided to make the jump. Jay says, I've been pushing Haley to cut the cord, but she refused to give up Hallmark and Lifetime. You don't have to. See, that's the thing. You don't have to. And we're going to talk about that as the stream goes on. I'm going to share something with you guys probably later on towards the end of the stream. Luke says, are you still planning to do your Grandstream GWN 7062 VLAN video? Yes. In fact, it's so as a creator, and I think a lot of the creators that are out here in the chat can relate to this. As a creator, you try to not only, you try to balance video topics on what is interesting to yourself, but also what is interesting to your viewers. And I know, Luke, you've been interested in this one particular video. And I promise you, it is coming. It's just, I've been processing other videos. One of the things as creators you try to do is try to keep that happy medium, but yet you want to go with videos that are getting your views. And because a lot of work goes into putting a video together, between the prepping for it, outlining it. Some people write a script. I don't. I kind of put keywords in my head, and then when I make my video, it really is freeform off the top of my head as I'm recording. But then editing, publishing up to YouTube, doing all the little tweaks onto YouTube. Once it gets up there, you know, it does take a lot of time and effort. And, you know, you got to look at your videos and say, if you're going to put 5 hours, 6 hours into producing a video, you know, you want to go with the videos that seem to be popular with your audience. I have to say, as much as I love doing Grandstream videos, they don't seem to be a big hit with my viewership. For whatever reason, they get very low views. But yes, because I said it publicly that I am going to do it, I am going to do it. It's probably, not sure when it's coming. I know I'm going to be away next week. There might not even be a video that following Saturday, but it definitely is on the map to get it done, Luke. So thank you for asking that. And TVJ wants to know, Jeremy, are you rolling your own PF Sense, or are you going to buy an appliance? My UDM SE just lost 2 ports and had it replaced. Very good customer service from Ubiquiti. That's good to hear, David, because I've been hearing like the contrary to that. So that's pretty good to hear. My wife and mom both love burnt hot dogs. Yeah, we had a grease fire on Tuesday. So we lost. So I like spread hot dogs, the old New York style dirty dogs from the hot dog carts on the street corners of New York City. So when we have hot dogs, it's just my wife and myself. We boil them on the stove. But when we have people over for a barbecue, we make both because we know some people like them grilled and some people like them boiled. So we had sabrettes that we boiled on the stove, and then we also had Nathan's that we grilled on the grill with a couple of burgers. Unfortunately, we also had a piece of filet mignon and a pork loin, and we ended up, after the pork loin and the filet came off, we had a bit of a grease fire. And talk about burnt hot dogs. You remember as a kid roasting marshmallows and holding the stick over the fire, and then all of a sudden the marshmallow, the whole thing gets engulfed in flames, and by the time you blow it out, it's just one big black charred marshmallow. Well, that's what the hot dogs were. Believe it or not, there were people in the crowd that ate the charred burned hot dogs. So anyway, TVJ, Jeremy's answering saying, I bought a 1U box from Jason's lab last fall. This just gives me an excuse to put it in production. I think I already installed OpenSense on it. And Luke, thank you, Luke. I appreciate that. It is coming. I promise you. Before the end of the summer, it will be out. But listen, if you don't wait on me, I don't want to hold you up in whatever you're doing in your own home or network or whatever. If it's a business, I don't know the scenario, but please don't wait on me. Grandstream, if you want to see some good videos on Grandstream, go to the Grandstream Network's YouTube channel. Also go to Willie Howe's channel. Willie does a lot of Grandstream content, mainly on the phone, the voice over IP, but you may catch what you're looking for on his channel. If not, I know you'll definitely catch it on the Grandstream on the Grandstream site. In fact, let me look up, go to that site and put the URL in the chat for you. Here we go. Here you go, Luke. That would help if I hit the right computer. There we go. All right. And David says, I'm behind in finishing my high-end VM server. Just keep going for a review of the free products I received. Yeah, you've been doing I noticed a lot of product reviews the last couple of videos. So there you go. Okay, it looks like I'm caught up with the chat for now. Oop, nope. David eats hot dogs like that. Charburn, that is. Yep, figure that. Okay, so let me take these off for now. So one of the things, as you can see, we started a poll on whether or not you're a cord cutter at this point in time. And let's see, according to what I'm seeing so far on the poll, I don't know, can you guys see the poll? So we have 6 votes at this point in time. We only have 5 people here. I guess we had 7 at one point. People are in and out, and that's fine. I haven't streamed in a while. I'm just happy to be live and happy to have some of you here with me. We have an even 50-50 split. So 50% of you guys are cord cutters and 50% of you in the live stream are not. So I'm going to keep the poll going for a little bit longer, and then I'll keep it going, and I'll just remind people as they come in and out, and we'll check it at the end of the night. So reason I say that is the last couple of weeks I've been doing a lot of I do besides like doing the home networking and the surveillance cameras and that kind of stuff. I do consultations for folks who are interested in cutting the cord and breaking away from the big box cable companies, whether it's a cable provider or in our area we have a cable provider and a fiber provider. Although they offer fiber internet, but the TV still comes over coax, even if you get it through your fiber provider. That is, unless you're buying their streaming package. And what I found is I cut the cord back in 2016. And at that point in time, we didn't have as many options as we do now for alternative streaming services. And at that time, the big box companies weren't on the bandwagon. They weren't offering streaming services. So what I did at that point in time was I put a nice antenna, high quality antenna up in my attic. I ran it to a Tableau over the air DVR. Now you guys might not have heard of Tableau, but it's the competitor to like the HD Home Run and the what's the other big one, the TiVo. Except with the Tableau, as opposed to the TiVo, you don't need to have a main unit and a satellite on every set. Now I don't know if that's changed with TiVo because I've never been a TiVo user, but with Tableau, it's a network over-the-air tuner. It sits on your network. You can connect it via Wi-Fi or via Ethernet. In fact, let me get up to their website and show you. And you've probably seen it, but there we go. All right, let me switch to here. And let's do this and this. Okay. So it's an over-the-air tuner, and it basically connects to an antenna. Now, the antenna could be a small antenna that you stick to your window and inside the house. It could be an antenna that you put in your attic. It could also be an antenna outside on your roof. Just make sure if you go that route that you do ground the antenna to the grounding pole in the ground there. But it sits on your network, and then all the over-the-air channels that it pulls in, this device streams it to all the sets in your house. So basically, you can use a Fire Stick, you can use a Roku, you can use a smart TV if the smart TV has the Tableau app. What I found, certain manufacturers of the smart TVs don't have the Tableau app, so usually I tell my customers either to get Rokus or to get Fire Sticks, and we usually don't have a problem. So in 2016, I went this route, and I got all my over-the-air channels. I think in this area, I got about 30 channels, which wasn't bad. I got a couple of PBS channels, all the major networks, things like MeTV, Grit TV, all that stuff. And I supplemented that at the time with a streaming service called Sling TV. How many of you have heard of Sling TV? At the time, Sling TV was $25 a month, but it did not offer you your local major network. So between the combination of the antenna and Sling TV, I pretty much had my over-the-air channels as well as most of my cable channels, all the big ones like HGTV, Food Network, Lifetime, all that stuff. And that was a great deal because when you looked at it back then, you were, I was paying over $200 a month between internet and a cable package. Now I just reduced that substantially, and I think I ended up paying just under $100 at the time, and most of that $100 was my internet service, right? So, but now what's happened, what I've noticed over the years is that obviously the big box cable companies were losing their share of the market, and over time they came out with their own streaming services. In fact, I think at the time it was Sling, and there was one called Philo, which at the time Sling was $25, Philo was $15. But that said, now you have a ton of them. You have YouTube TV, Fubo TV, Hulu Live. There's just a ton of different streaming service. Dish came out with their own streaming service. In our local area, Spectrum came out with their own Spectrum Merge TV, because I guess what was happening over time, and chime in the comments, I think what was happening over time is over a 5-year period, these big boxes saw their subscriber base lessening, and everybody was cutting over to the cord cutting alternatives. However, like with anything else, supply and demand, right? The more there was demand for the cord cutting, at least in my experience, the prices go up a little, the prices go up a little, the prices go up a little. So now you got your streaming services, your alternative services are almost as high as the cable package that you switched away from how many years ago. For example, in our area, Merge TV is the Spectrum streaming service, and it's all their channels. So if you have Spectrum TV as your cable package, and whatever it is you're paying, I just switched somebody over and we gave them all the options, all the different streaming services, and they ended up staying with with Spectrums, but they went away from the boxes and they went to the streaming service because the difference in what they were saving was minimal compared to the channels that they had to sacrifice if they went to like a service like YouTube TV. So, but then you factor in, like, so the Merge TV, for example, was $92 a month, and the base YouTube TV package is $72.99 now. And yes, they were saving $20, but then this particular family had a bundle, three internet, phone, and TV. So when they broke that bundle and canceled their TV package, now the other two services in the bundle, they didn't get the bundle discount anymore. So those other two items went up. So now the difference in paying the savings of that $20, just some of that got eaten up by the bundle prices going up, and it was minimal. Like, it was less than $11 that they would be saving by going to something like YouTube TV. Now, that said, they decided to stick with Merge in this case because they got all their channels, the ones that they were accustomed to. They didn't have to give anything up. With YouTube TV, they might have had to sacrifice a channel here, a channel there, and the savings didn't constitute having to make a sacrifice in their minds. So anyway, I know I got on a kick about it, but I did want to have a conversation about that tonight. And what I do want to show you, let me switch back to the computer, is there's a site in the beginning. If you wanted to see, like, I always tell my customers when I'm doing a consultation, the best thing to do is your homework. And they look at me and they say, "What do you mean, do your homework?" And I say to them, well, if you're going to make the break and cut the cord, I want you to be happy, and I want to be happy. I don't want you calling me, follow up, after you've done this, saying you don't have this channel, you don't have that channel. So I will help you get there, but you need to do your homework. And what I want you to do, and I swear this is what I say to them, I want you to write down or on your computer, however, make a list of all your channels, like your family's viewing preferences. Jot them all down. And then go through that list once you have them all jotted down. And then put a check mark by your must-haves. Put a check mark by, it'd be nice to have them, but you know what? If the savings is substantial, I can live without this channel. And then, designate the ones that you don't care if you don't have, right? So now you've done your homework. And once you do your homework, then you can go online, and we can go online together, and we can look at the various channel lineups from the various streaming services. And up until recently, you had to go on each site individually. So if you wanted to go to, see what YouTube TV had, you'd go out to YouTube TV and you'd look at their channel lineup, and then you enter your zip code, and then you would look through their channel lineup and see what they had and see if there was anything that was missing. And you would do the same thing for Hulu Live. You would do the same thing for Fubo TV. And then after a while, it would get confusing. Wait, which service had this channel? Which service had? And I don't, it's like, how do you make a decision? But now there's a site out there called suppose.tv. And this is what I wanted to share with you guys, because I find that people just jump on the bandwagon without doing their homework, and then they're disappointed. They fall into that cord-cutting failure syndrome because they cut the cord. Oh, and this is great. We're saving $50 a month, right? But then all of a sudden they go to watch something and they don't have that channel. And then they're upset. They're aggravated about it. So in any event, suppose.tv will, what it is, it's a website. You put up in this corner here, you can change your TV market area and put in your zip code, and that'll tell you all the local channels that are available in that market in your area, like all the over-the-air broadcast TV channels. But then what happens is, along the left here, you have all the channels from over-the-air to premium channels to entertainment like TNT, USA, TBS, information, history, and all that, lifestyle. And Jay, this is what I was saying earlier, is you don't have to give up those channels. Like Haley doesn't have to give up whatever it was. I think you said Hallmark and Lifetime or one other channel. As soon as you start making selections on the left side, watch the screen over here. You'll start to see things pop up. So, and they'll change as you make your selections. So you can see as I'm adding my local channels. Now, if I go down and I say, well, I definitely want to have TNT, I want USA. And if you're paying attention to what's happening on the right side of the screen, it's showing you up until that point in your selection, all the services that would be an option for you. AMC, TBS, I think you get the idea. History Channel, Discovery, National Geo, Animal Planet, TLC. Let's do a few more. HGTV, Food, Lifetime, Travel. I know down here in this area, golf is big and a lot of people like the Golf Channel. So let me go and find the Golf Channel. All right, so you get the idea. So you make your channel selection on the end here, on the left side. And then when you look at what's happening on the right-hand side, like it'll tell me all the different streaming services that may fit my needs based on my channel selections on the left. However, I could see here just that YouTube TV, the base package, right, doesn't have the History Channel. Now, if the History Channel is a must for me, I have a couple other options. I could either go to one of the other services or upgrade the YouTube to the YouTube Basic and the base plan and the Friendly Basic. So this is a big help because rather than having to go to each streaming service's site individually, go through their channel lineup and then determine which one was the best. If you can remember which had the best channel lineup that fit your needs. But this makes it super simple. So let me put this down in the comments. I hope you think this site is pretty helpful, and I hope you guys use it as a resource. There it is in the chat, suppose.tv. Yeah, it's just one of those things where I've been converting people away from the big box companies, but I've also then been helping people who made the jump on their own, but they're frustrated because what they end up doing, right, is they end up making the jump before doing the homework, as I said earlier. And then like they find out that they're paying for this and then this channel is missing. So now they go out and they get another streaming service to supplement that. And just to have that channel or two that they're missing. And now they're paying X amount for one, X amount for another. Oh yeah, let's have Netflix too. Oh, more. And before you know it, when you add up the number of streaming services that people are paying for just to get their shows and channels that they want, it ends up being a major fail. And you end up actually paying somewhat more than you were paying before you broke away from your cable company. So if you do it, if you educate yourself and you do it the right way, as opposed to just being spontaneous and doing it, I think overall you'll have a better cord cutting experience. So enough about me babbling about cord cutting. Let's go to the chat and see what you all think. I hope as I was on my rant about cord cutting that you guys put your comments and your thoughts in the chat below. So let's see. Where did I leave off? There we go. So David says, yay, 50-50 on the chat. The poll, actually, it's 64-36 now. 64% yay, 36% nay. We are up to 9 viewers, 8 likes. I thought I saw Willie Howe in here, but I think I also saw that he had a run. Thank you, Willie, for stopping in. Let's see. TVJ says, as someone in the industry, cord cutting and cord changers are two different things. Most consider cord cutting something like YouTube TV, but we see YouTube TV as another cable company since we still get the dollars residuals. Yeah. And Jay, that's a good point. I want to stress that a bit. A true cord cutter cut the cord. I mean, literally cut the cord and went to antenna TV, basically. When you start supplementing with these other services, they don't really consider that. There's what's the name of the channel? The guy's name is Luke. Cord Cutters, is it? Cord Cutters? I have to look it up. I remember him saying that years ago that the true cord cutter literally doesn't subscribe to any additional services. But sometimes for certain people, just the antenna TV was not enough. Now, in my area, I did get, let me just shut this for a second. In my area, not only did I get the locals, I got things like I said, Me TV, Grid TV, a lot of the PBS channels, not Lifetime. There was another old time TV channel. I forget what it was. But then you have, my wife wants to watch Food Network. She wants to watch HGTV. So those were things we couldn't get over the air. So again, for us at that time, Sling was a good supplement to the over the air TV tuner. So anyway, yeah, good point, Jay. Thank you for bringing that up. Cord shaving is very popular these days. Jay, that's a term that I have not heard. So if you wouldn't mind, I would love to hear how you define cord shaving. Willie says, have you seen how much traditional TVs are losing? It's crazy. I know, I think Willie's gone by now. But to his point, yeah, and that's when they started to come around with their own streaming services, except what they did was they hit the market when the YouTube TVs and the Hulu Lives were still $55. and they hit the market at $90. So if you're trying to get that market share back and get that streaming market back, how do you come in $35 higher? That was always the question I had. Um, but in time, those other alternative services up to the point where there's literally a $10 or $12 difference in this area between YouTube TV, Fubo TV, and the actual cable company streaming service. Hey Brian, thanks for joining. David says there's so much fascinating, high quality educational media available that is free or at minimal cost. There is not much time for me to waste on mindless media put out by traditional outlets. Can't argue that. Great stuff. Got to run. Thanks, Willie. Appreciate you dropping in. Also makes time for music and great 2-channel audio, which I guess is old school and now grossly underappreciated. And David says, I also have an antenna in the attic for free over-the-air TV. My favorite station is NHK, Japan TV. That's one I don't get in this area. I love when they cover sumo when in season. No commercials either. You talk about some of the media that's free. On the Roku stick, you get the Roku channel, which is old-time TV, and it's all free. You get Tubi is another one that has good free content. So yes, Pluto is another one that there's a lot of good free content out there. So yeah, I agree, David. There's good media out there without having to pay for it. Okay, Jay answered. Cord shaving is what most people want. They lower their package or change their services to save money, knowing they are going to lose things like sports. Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, I've not heard that term, but yeah, no, it makes total sense. Thank you, Jay, for clarifying that. Appreciate it. All right. So that's my rant on cord cutting. And we are at, let's see how many people. We have 13 votes in the poll, and we're at 69% yes, you are cord cutting, and 31% are not. So I'm going to extend this conversation just for a little longer, and then we'll move on to something else. For the 31% of you, if you're still here, or for those of you who are here that said you're not cord cutting at this point in time, can you just put briefly in the comment, just curious as to why not? Just curious, is it too much of a hassle? I will tell you this, is it too much of a hassle? Not only do you potentially give up maybe a channel or two or a show or two to save a few bucks, but it's also a learning curve. It's also a completely different user experience from what the average TV viewer is used to doing. They put on their TV with their remote and boom, their guide comes up, they pick their show, and they're off to the races. With cord cutting, you got to go, if you're on a Roku or a Fire Stick, you got to go to the home page, pick the app, navigate, select it, right arrow, left arrow, up, down. It's a completely different user experience, and the demographic that I'm dealing with in this area, that's a big deal. It's a big deal. So when I do these consultations, I not only say, do your homework so that we can make the best possible decision, but also keep in mind that there's going to be a different user experience. And then I'll go into homes where they'll say, well, I have a Roku on the bedroom TV, and I have a smart TV in the front office, and my main TV, I have a Fire Stick. What I like to do is standardize on every TV the same user interface so that they're not having to navigate a Fire Stick in one room, having to navigate the smart TV in another room, having to navigate the Roku in another room, all to get to the same content in different ways. It's just it's just mind-boggling. Let's see. So TVJ is asking Dave, where does NHK air for free over the air in Alberto, which I will welcome you to the stream. Alberto says it's usually broadcast via subchannel on your local PBS station in many areas. Well, thank you. I did not know that. Brian Coates says, intermittently subscribe to service, watch what's new for a month or two, then cancel for a few months. There you go. TVJ says, we haven't cut the cord because of the channels and the DVR. I hate how YouTube TV records every episode of a show. If I only want to record one episode of a show, I only want to record one episode. Gotcha. Yep. Again, that goes back to the user experience, right? We were just talking about different user experiences. Different services have different user experiences as well. For example, how YouTube TV handles its DVR recording. So in any event, pretty cool. Thank you guys for weighing in. I will say we have 8 users here. We were up to 10 or 11 at one point. We have 9 likes, so I'll take it. I think I'm going to end the poll. So we are ending the poll with 14 votes. So at one point, I guess we had 14 people here. Are you a cord cutter at the present time? 71% yes, 29% no. So let's end that poll now. There we go. Thank you guys for participating in that poll. I should do a poll on the hot dogs. You like your hot dogs with sauerkraut or what? No, I'm just kidding. So, all right. So, let's see. There are 2 other things I wanted to talk about. I'll go over the Grandstream stuff briefly. If you haven't been following Grandstream, too bad Willie's gone, because he would probably be able to, input into the chat some additional information. But if you haven't been following Grandstream, in the last 2 months, they've been rolling out a slew of products. Back in December 2022, they came out with their first line of managed switches, the PoE switches, the 7801, which I have, the 7802 and the 7803. Then we're in July. In May, they came out with, let me switch the screen here, and let me go to Grandstream's website. And this is just kind of like a news thing. Not really going to get into it other than just if you haven't heard and you're interested in stuff like this, go check it out. So let me go to grandstream.com. In May, they came out with a new line, more switches, unmanaged, right? So back in December, they came out with their managed line. In May, they came out with their unmanaged switches. And then in June, they added to those unmanaged switches. So let's click over to the product page, and you have the GWN 77 P and P PoE switches, and then the 7700 M switches, and we'll talk about that. So these switches basically here are 5, let me switch over, are 5 and 8 ports unmanaged switches, but they do have PoE. They support PoE and PoE Plus. Let's see, 802.3 AF and AT compliant, up to 30 watts on each port, but only 4 port, right? Broadcast, multicast, unicast, storm. So, okay, basically unmanaged switches, plug and play, 1 gig switches. Then last month they came out with this lineup here, which are still unmanaged switches, but they're multi-gig network switches. So you got 5 and 8 port multi-gig copper ports, 1 SFP plus fiber port that's compatible for either 1 gig or 10 gig. And the other Ethernet ports, the RJ45 ports, are either 100, 1 gig, 2.5 connectivity. So you got unmanaged switches that these are not PoE, but they are multi-gig on the RJ45 ports and 1 gig or 10 gig on the actual SFP port. So again, they've been barreling out new equipment. That's what they did with their line of switches. And then was it late June? Yeah, it was in June as well. They came out with, they not only have the GWN 7062 router, which I have, and the GWN 7052 router, which I also have. They just came out with their rebranding of their original GWN 7000 router, which is mega years old. And they came out with these three here. And if we go to the page here, let's just see. The 7001, 7002, 7003 multi-WAN gigabit VPN routers with built-in firewalls. I believe the 7001 and 7002 can support up to 50 VPN connections, and the 7003 is 150 or 100. And they have their own built-in controller, so they can support up to 150 GWN access points. If you are not a fan of using the Grandstream cloud, which is GWN cloud, again, here, one for RJ45 port with 802.3 AF AT input, and two RJ45 ports with 48 volt passive PoE output. Supports multiple gig RJ45 ports and gigabit SFP ports, built-in VPN. Let's go real quick to, on this particular device, let's just go real quick to the product sheet. I just want to see what the VPN capacity is. If it says, oh yeah, here we go. Max concurrent VPN tunnels. I'm sorry, I said clients, up to 50 tunnels on the 7001, 7002. I stand corrected, and up to 100 tunnels on the 7003. So in any event, yeah, so I just want, like I said, almost like a midweek news, Thursday night news blast. If you haven't been following Grandstream, they have come out with a bunch of new gear within the last 60 days. So let's take a look at the comments and see what you guys. Let's see. All right. TVJ says, I've never heard of PBS airing NHK as a sub-channel. Interesting. Yeah, I've never heard of that. I've actually never heard of NHK, so there you go. And TVJ asks, are you using a mix of Ubiquiti and Grandstream products in your home? Yes. For those who saw my network tour last year, I have a Ubiquiti Edge Router 6P at my head end. I have Unify switches. I have a 10 gig, the Unify 10 gig aggregation switch, and then a 24 port PoE Unify switch and a 24 port non-PoE Unify switch. And then I have two Grandstream GWN 7630 access points and a GWN 7615 access point in the master bedroom. All Wi-Fi 5 at the time when I installed them. I do have a 7660 here, which is Wi-Fi 6, but I've just been doing some testing with it. I don't intend to pull the access points down and upgrade to Wi-Fi 6 anytime soon. The Wi-Fi 5 is just fine for what we're doing. So, but yeah, I do have a mix. Good question. Thanks, Jay, for asking. So, okay. So while I'm here, let me go to YouTube real quick. And let me go to my history. So I'm not going to play this video because I don't want to get any strikes, but let me it's a video by Tech Me Out, Avi, And I've had Avi on the channel. We've done a live stream together last year. Avi did a video on Synology Hyper Backup new feature. It's an entire NAS backup. Well, last year at this time, I explored when Synology came out with the Synology NAS bare metal backup and restore for active backup for business, where you can actually do a complete NAS bare metal backup and restore. If you remember, then I had some issues with it. I had to get support involved. And then ever since then, future revisions, it was in beta when I was testing it. They got it working. And I do back up my NAS using to another NAS using the bare metal backup and restore. So, but now they've come out with 7.2, and Avi did. I just learned about this yesterday because of Avi's video. So thank you, Avi. They in 7.2 they have a beta version of Hyper Backup. If you're using Hyper Backup in Synology and you've moved to 7.2, you can move to the beta if you want. And in the beta, they have now added full NAS backup support and recovery. So, a lot of the buzz and the questions, in fact, I was chatting with Avi about it a little bit on Signal, is, so like what's the advantage of one over the other? And because active backup for business is so new at this point, not active backup for business, because hyper backup, the beta, and this feature is so new, it's hard to say. The thing that came to my mind is with active backup for business, you're backing up to another NAS, right? With hyper backup, at least the current versions of hyper backup, you can go to another NAS, you can go to a USB external drive, you can go to a cloud provider to back up to Google, back up to C2, things like that. Currently, I did download an upgrade to the beta version of hyper backup on my Synologies. Currently, that option to go to a cloud platform is not there. I'm assuming in their roadmap, eventually, as it comes out of beta and they keep releasing, they're going to hopefully include at least the ability to go to C2. But for right now, you can only do hyper backup, full NAS backup to another Synology. Now, of course, I learned about this yesterday and I needed to put it to the test. I decided, well, why not? So I took my DS920. Let me get out of here. Let me go into the DS920. And I upgraded the DS920 and also my DS1621 Plus. I upgraded them both to the Hyper Backup Beta on the DS920 and the Hyper Backup Vault Beta on the DS1621 Plus. And I said, let me try this. So if I take you into the package center now, I want to share this experience with you. And I know it's beta, right? So, I mean, it's all good. And there's nothing on this 920 that I was worried about losing anyway. So if all failed, not a great big deal, right? And plus, don't forget, I have the 920 backed up doing full bare metal backup to Apple Active Backup for Business. So I go ahead and I update it. Now, I had to end up restoring it with Active Backup for Business because, well, let me take you through the process. Things didn't go as well as I had planned. So I just want to share my story with you if you're interested. So you come down here to the beta packages in the package center. You agree to join the beta program. And then here you have the Hyper Backup beta. So the current version of Hyper Backup, the installed version is 4.0.0-3312 if you're running DSM 7.2. So that's the current non-beta version. However, the beta version is 4.1.0-3425. Now, I know I said I had already updated to this. Yeah, I did. And I actually completed the backup successfully. It's the restore that gave me the issue. So let's see if it lets me. It says you have installed a stable version of Hyper Backup. Do you want to upgrade to the, yeah, we'll upgrade to the beta version. Okay, and now let me go here and let's look for, let's see if it actually did the update. Hyper Backup, open. Yes, I saw the little beta. And here we're at the beta 4.1.0-3425. Okay. So then I went over to the 1621 Plus. This is what I did yesterday in my testing. I went over to my 1621 Plus. I did the same thing. I went into the package center and I upgraded to the Hyper Backup Vault right here, which you can see it says beta 4.1.03425. And what I did was I created a shared folder on the 1621 Plus, and I just called it full backup or something like that, full NAS backup, whatever. For now, we'll just call it full backup. I'll skip the security step for now and the advanced, just go right through and take the defaults. Okay, apply. And now I have my full backup shared folder. So now that I did that on the Synology NAS, I went back to the DS21. I opened Hyper Backup, the beta, and now you can see here a couple of different, here's a new option. It says you can back up your folders and packages, which you are always able to do with Hyper Backup. But here now you have this new option of entire system, back up the entire Synology NAS, including data packages and configurations with the faster block level backup. So I did it. In fact, I'll do it now, but I'm not going to do the restore. So I said next, server IP, and it's searching for my, right now the 1621 Plus is also on the network. So let's go through at least let me show you the backup process, which is really straightforward. Okay, and here's my 1621 Plus. We'll leave encryption off. We have to authenticate. And I'm going to have to use another sign-in method. I'll go with the password. Okay, I'm authenticated. I'm going to pick the shared folder. This is the one I created on the 1621 Plus just a few seconds ago. We're going to go to next. You have like typical Hyper Backup. You can do your compressed data, create a backup schedule. We're just going to, for now, accept the defaults. Same thing. You have your rotation settings here. We're going to just accept the defaults and say done. Let's see what happens. Okay, and now it says backup now. So I'm going to say yes because I want to at least show you the completed backup on the 1621 Plus in that shared folder. I think it took about 6 or 7 minutes. So, you know, I'll show you other stuff while that's working in the background. So we're going to say yes. You can see here waiting, backing up volumes, and we're going to let that go, right? So now go through the restore process while this is backing up. You just click here to do a restore, select a restoration type, entire system, and I went through the wizard and I did the restore after the backup was completed. And the restore took longer. It didn't take 6 minutes. It did originally say it was going to take like a day plus 9 hours. It took about 3 hours to do the restore. And it was interesting because, as hopefully you'll see here, the backup process will be successful. It also told me the restore process was successful. After rebooted, after the restore completed, I signed in. Everything looked good. This morning I woke up to couple of critical emails, and I woke up to this. Oop. Let me just bring that over to your screen. Okay. I woke up to my storage manager saying that I had critical issues with the storage pool. And yesterday it was wonderful. It was all healthy. Everything was great. And then I also got this message. That says, I know you can't read it. It's kind of tiny, but it's volume 1 has entered read-only status, possible because of unexpected file system errors. Basically, when a storage pool or volume says it's gone into read-only, it's basically crashed. The volume has crashed. So, and then the final message, just want the final error. I just wanted to do a screenshot and show you all the errors on most of the installed apps, right? So that's what I woke up to this morning. And it's the only way basically is to back up your data, remove the volume, recreate the volume. So I removed the volume and decided at that point to do the actual active backup for business restore. And that was successful, which is what I'm working with here. This is the DS920 after the failure to restore from hyper backup, but the successful restore from, and I don't say failure to restore from hyper backup. It restored successfully from hyper backup, but then I guess after the NAS after the volume was created and it did its optimization, it failed, it crashed or whatever. So what you're looking at here is the restore from active backup for business. So again, you know, that old adage of always never, you can never have enough backups. Active backup for business for the win here. So this is at 44%. So yeah, I just wanted to show you that. Hopefully when this is done, we'll have, yeah, it's already created the file here, ds920 lab_1.hbk hyper backup. So it's not completed, but you can see that it is backing up to the 1621 plus as we speak. So while that's working, let me go back to the comments. Still have 7 of you here, 11 likes. I appreciate you all for being here. Let me switch back to full screen for now. Hello, Catherine. Thank you for joining us. I'm sorry I missed it. What is the vault again? So the vault is just the, so you need 2 programs to work to back up one Synology to another. The one that's creating the backup is hyper backup, and then on the remote, let's say the other device, the remote device, because hopefully you're going to take that secondary device and move it off site. So on the remote device, you need a place to store those backups. They call it hyper backup vault. So hyper backup on the source, hyper backup vault on the destination. It is where it's what's needed to actually create that backup to the remote NAS. Hope that makes sense. I hope that answers your question. All right, we are at 44%. Let's see. I think I covered pretty much what I wanted to cover. There's a neat little tool I want to show you. Not a tool, but something that I've added to my tool bag, courtesy of Joe Trelli, who's not here tonight. I did speak to Joe earlier. Ashley and Joe had a meeting that they had to attend for their new business. So, in fact, I didn't even mention to him at the time that I was going live because I didn't know I was going live at the point we were on the phone. It was a very last minute decision. So yeah. And TVJ says, oh, I am doing that at work. Yep, there you go. So then you definitely have Hyper Backup installed on the source and Hyper Backup Vault installed on the remote NAS, or the one that's receiving the backup. So this is still going. This should finish successfully. And like I said, the restore finished successfully as well, except that the volume crashed after it was going through its optimization. So I was kind of bummed about that, but hey, at least I had the active backup for business backup ready to go that I was able to restore with that. And again, if worst case scenario, if it worst came to worse, the DS920 is basically my lab NAS. So is my 1621 Plus. So I can do things like this, although I am running surveillance station for my home cameras on the 1621 Plus. I don't really do much with it other than play with virtual machines on the 1621 Plus. The DS920, I just use for testing things like Docker and Nginx and Docker and stuff like that. Share files out with people. It backs up. I have a DS216 Plus 2, which is my original NAS that I bought in 2016, still going strong. That's my NAS that's running Synology photos. So all of my photos are being backed up with the original Hyper Backup to the DS920. In fact, if you look here, you can see here's my Synology photos shared folder, and there's the actual Hyper Backup. So I have on the DS920, I have Hyper Backup installed and Hyper Backup Vault because it's acting as the vault for the DS216 Plus 2, but it's also running Hyper Backup so I can back it up to the 1621 Plus, if that makes sense, if you stayed with me. And Jay says, I need to build a backup NAS. Yep. Well, don't you have True NAS, or is that, or wait, True NAS, don't you have True NAS, or is that Joe? I don't remember. And yes, I have 3 NAS units. Yep. That I did. I did purchase the DS216 Plus 2. Synology did send me the DS920 Plus and the 1621 Plus in exchange for videos. I did have to buy the drives that are in those devices. I have 4 terabyte drives in the DS920, and in the 1621 Plus, I have, let's see, I forget what I have. I have 4 6 terabyte drives, and I have 2 12 terabyte drives in a bag in the back that I'm not sure what I want to add them to this 1621 Plus, but I don't know if I want to add them to the existing volume or create a second volume. I'm not sure yet. So yes, Synology did give me both boxes, but I did supply the drives in exchange for, like, I have over 90 Synology videos on my channel. So it's not like they were just, oh, here, keep the boxes. That was the agreement. I was, at the time, I was like, I have 40 Synology videos on my channel, and we worked it out that at the time those were keepers as long as I kept doing videos on them. So yeah, now their policy has changed. Now it's, you get the NAS, you can keep it as long as you want to do videos on it, and then you have to send it back. In fact, I am waiting on, I just sent back the DS423 Plus, and I'm waiting on, I don't know if they're sending me, let me go back to that, if they're sending me both of these cameras, the TC500 and the BC500, or if they're sending me one of the two for review. They're both basically the same guts, just in other words, the same specs, just in a different form factor. And they're also supposed to be sending me the actual B drive, which I did do a video on a couple of weeks ago. But I would like to get my hands on it and do some testing. So if you haven't seen the B drive video on my channel, it did pretty well. It's a pretty popular video. Just go to YouTube and look for Quick Tech Solutions and it'll be there. So yeah, let's see, how are we doing here? We're at 45%. Anyway, so take my word for it. It does complete. But again, the restoration was where the issue was. And again, it's beta. I know it's beta. So I should have showed you what I was looking at. It's at 45%. And, you know, like I said, it took about, well, it's over 6 minutes now. So anyway, the backup will back up successfully. It's the restore that was the problem. And again, like I said, I do know it's beta, so it is what it is. So anyway, still got 5 of you here. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. So I have an upcoming video, part 1 of a 2-part video, is being released this Saturday on these guys right here. Now this is a wireless bridge, but not from Ubiquiti. It's from a company called UV. They did reach out to me and I was intrigued by it. It's a 1 gig. They have gigabit ports on them. It's a 5.8 megahertz band that they transmit on. It claims to transmit up to just 3.11 miles. I think it was 5 kilometers or something like that. So I did my initial video on these in the studio here. Complete review, got them paired up and working. The next video, when I get back from vacation next week, it's not vacation, I'm actually traveling out of town. When I get back, what I hope to do is part 2 is take them outdoors and set them up as far apart as I can. I'll run the master or the transmitter. I'll run that in my backyard, in my back room of my house. I have Ethernet ports on the wall. I'll just make a long cable, run it outside, put it up on a pole, probably a tall tripod. And then I'll take the receiver, go as far as I can in the front of the house, maybe even across the street. There's no way I could test 5 kilometers. It's just not going to happen. And I'll power it up. It comes with the PoE adapter. And I'll power the PoE adapter with a portable power bank that I have. I'll bring my laptop out and we'll do some speed tests. So that'll be part 2 of the video. That's not recorded yet. Part 1 is coming out on Saturday. So far, I have to say, I'm impressed with these. Again, I only set them up in the studio here. It was pretty snappy. I did get an IP address on this device over the wireless bridge, which I was happy about. And I didn't do an actual speed test per se, but I did a little surfing on the web and it was pretty snappy. So, pretty good for a home user that doesn't want to get, if they live up to, we'll see once they're spread apart how they perform. But for a home user, easy setup, someone who doesn't want to dig into all the idiosyncrasies of setting up like a professional point-to-point system, just somebody who has a backyard barn or a secondary structure on their property. Perfect. So in any event, so that's coming as well. This thing is at 63%. So let me show you that one other little thing that I added to my tool bag, and we'll see where that's at. And if it's done, it's done. If it's not done, we'll call it a wrap anyway. So, okay, let me get my top-down camera working. Let me move a couple of things out of the way. Okay, let me switch to the top-down camera. So this is something called a Pica dry pencil. I don't know if you've seen anything like this before. I Just learned about these. Pretty cool, actually. Um, it just pulls out, and there's your actual pencil. But the nice thing about it is, for somebody like me who wears a tool pouch, it clips onto my tool pouch with this clip here, and it's very hard. Like, and there's a little tensioning thing inside the clip. It's very hard for this to fall off the tool bag. Whereas when I put regular pencils in the bag, it just, I've lost more pencils than you can imagine. So it just pops out like that. It's got a little sharpener on the end. The difference is, though, it will write pretty much on any surface, whether it's drywall, stone, rock, um, copper, uh, copper piping, copper pipe, PVC piping. It will pretty much write on anything, cement, and it also comes with refill packs. And I got just the regular lead color, but it does come in different colors. In fact, let me switch over back to Super Source, and let me just bring up the website real quick. Okay, here we go. So there it is. There's a better look at it. Pika Dry Long Life Automatic Pencil. I'll put this link down I'll put the link to the website in the comments if you want to check it out for yourself. But it's really, really cool. And I could thank Joe Trelli from Learn Blue Iris for turning me on to this. They make Pika markers as well, but this thing will write on anything. I would play the video for you, but again, I don't want to have any copyright strikes from YouTube. Again, check it out. It's called Pika Dry Long Life Automatic Pencil, and I put the link in the chat. So let's see, how are we doing with the DS920? Okay, so there you go. So here you can see the backup was successful. The next scheduled backup is, I just took the default, is 3 a.m. And you can see here, it says the backup type is the entire system, and the size was 50 gig. And if I flip over to I got to get to the DS1621 Plus. Here it is. I mean, I know I showed you this before, but here it is in the full backup folder. So when I hit restore, if I wanted to restore the entire system, we'd go through the wizard where it would eventually have me select this right here from the 1621 Plus, from the Hyper Backup Vault. So again, when I saw this and I saw this, I thought, when I saw this, I was like, cool, it's beta, but it works. I did the restore and it worked. I was like, awesome. And then I woke up this morning and I had all those, critical errors that the volume crashed. And so anyway, point being is, I wanted to share it with you because I think it's an exciting new feature that Synology's adding to their software. I think once the kinks are worked out, it'll be really cool, especially if they take the roadmap and add other backup destinations, such as, going to their C2 cloud. I really think it could be a nice option for those people who aren't using Active Backup for Business, or you can use both, right? But they definitely have to keep revising the beta. I am going to report the issue to them so that they have a record of it. But again, I just wanted to put it to the test. I learned about it yesterday from Avi from the Tech Me Out YouTube channel. So thank you, thank you, Avi, for bringing that to my attention. I wish I could have said to you I put it to the test and it worked perfectly, But again, remember it is beta, so that's why we test, right? So yeah, let's go back to the comments one last time, and then we'll take this thing to a wrap. All right. So I have True NAS, but only one box. Okay, I thought you had the True NAS. I wasn't sure if it was you. So then Joe has the Unraid. Okay. And he also has a Synology 1821 Plus, I think, if I'm not mistaken. Alberto says, interesting to see how that wireless bridge will compare to the Ingenious bridge I have used for cameras in the past. You know, yeah, I'd be curious too. I mean, I don't know. I've never used the Ingenious bridge, so I can't speak to it. I mean, I don't know if we're comparing apples to apples here, to be honest with you, Alberto. But again, for the home user who is not real tech savvy and just needs to get like their network extended out to a secondary location, and it's not, let's say, corporate mission critical type of an application, I think they're going to work fine. Again, once I get them outside and try to test them, again, I'm not going to be able to test at 5 kilometers. I'm hoping I can test at, I'm trying to just think of my property. I'm hoping I can test at around 150 feet distance max. But we'll see. Yeah, the Pika, you're talking about the Pika new item must have. Yeah, it's pretty cool. I'm very happy with it, especially when I'm on a job and I'm marking things. Now I don't have to worry about the surface. I can do fine lines on a cement, on a stud, on a copper pipe if I had to. It's wonderful. You have to have a brand new NAS to be the vault, right? You can't just add this. No, that's not correct. You can add the vault to an existing NAS. It's part of the package in the it's in the if you go to the Synology Package Center and you just search for backup, all the backup programs that are third-party packages for Synology are available in the package center. So Hyper Backup Vault, which is right here, is available. Now, it may vary from NAS model to NAS model, like certain thing, like virtual machines not available on all, but I'm pretty sure Hyper Backup Vault and Hyper Backup are available on most Synology NAS models. But no, it doesn't have to be a new NAS to answer your question. I am curious on the throughput on that bridge. I get about 65 megabits over a 10-mile link via Ubiquiti. 10-mile link though, that's a big link though. Which Ubiquiti model are you using? Which, oh my God, I can't talk. Are you using nano beams, light beams? Which model are you using to get the 10-mile link? I am next to a field and could probably do half-mile tests with those units. You know what we could do, Jay? I'd be willing to, if you'd be willing to. I can get my second video recorded. I'd be happy to ship them to you if you want to set them up and test them in the field, so that this way we can have, a little bit of a test here, but in a longer test, half-mile test there. I mean, that's totally up to you. I'm not, I'm saying I'm not, no pressure, but it's something I'd be willing to do. So, of course, I want them back, but I would be happy to ship them to you if you wanted to do a little testing and maybe even record a video on it, and put it up on your channel. I'd be cool with that. So, all right. Well, let's see, folks. We've been going for about an hour and 34 minutes, almost an hour and 35 minutes. I am thrilled that I went live. I took a quite a while, quite a bit of time off from recording videos for a while, and just got back to that within the last couple of weeks, and definitely took time off from going live. I was going live every month, twice a month. I was doing interviews, and then also I was doing just my own live stream like this. Um, kind of did some reevaluation, of things, and just, needed some time away just to kind of re-energize and keep going. Every once in a while you got to do that, and for longevity. So in any event, I think I'm back. Uh, I've been watching a lot of live streams. I try to tune into Jay's as much as possible. I try to tune into Jeremy's whenever possible. I try to tune in. I haven't tuned into Willie's because I've been busy on Saturdays, but I'm not even sure. I'm not even getting the alerts that Willie is even streaming. So I'm not even sure if Willie's streaming anymore on Saturdays. But I feel good. It feels good to be back. I hope you enjoyed the stream. We still have 6 of you here. We have 12 likes overall. So I think for me, that's a good night. So yeah, Jay says, let's talk about the testing offline. Absolutely. And yes, I earned 1.5 JAUs. Hold on one second. Let me see if I can do this, if I still have it. Put this here, put that there. Let's see. I might make a major mess up right now, but we're going to see. Let's do this. Let's do this, and let's do this. The confetti didn't work. Oh well. Oh well. So anyway, folks, like I said, happy to be back. Thank you all for being here. I think we had a nice conversation. I do see a couple more chats. Jeremy says thanks. Thank you, Jeremy. I appreciate you being here. Thanks, Alberto. Appreciate it. Yep. I think that just about covers. There's a little delay. I see one more that I just want to bring up, and then we're going to sign off for the night. Yep, there it is. NJ says good. Oop, they're not on. Bummer. Okay, so we got Jeremy says thank you. Alberto says thank you. Appreciate you, Alberto. I guess you have been either here because you say, as always, great info. So I appreciate that. I don't know whether you're just a subscriber following my videos or if you've been in my live streams before. I apologize if I don't recall. Like I said, it's been a while since I've done one. Jay says good stream. And Catherine says thank you. Thank you, Catherine, for popping in and saying hello. Appreciate you. Appreciate everybody. Check out those other creators that were here. PE for Doers, David, TVJ with the TVJ channel. Willie Howe was here for a bit. Practical IT with Jeremy Like. If I missed anybody, I do apologize, but that's who I can see off the top of my head or think of off the top of my head. And with that, everybody, I'll say like I do in every video, thank you for watching. My name is Tony with Quick Tech Solutions, and we'll see you all next time.